Welcome to the Heart of a Viking. This channel offers elementary art lessons taught by Mrs. Minto from the Cape Henlopen School District in Delaware. I look forward to virtually creating with you. There are new lessons posted weekly. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss a single one. So go grab your art supplies and your thinking caps and let's begin. Hey artists, let's get this party started with our architecture. We're going to start on a piece of scrap paper. This piece of paper here is not the best, so I'm going to use this as my scrap paper, and on this one I'm going to be making my blueprint. So my blueprint is just basically a drawing of what I want my building to look like. So I'm thinking about a community helper, a community building that I want to create for my little city here that I'm making, and I think I want my community building to be tall and thin. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a tall, thin rectangle. That's going to be my building. I want my building to be like half apartments at the top where people can live, and then the bottom is the business or the place that I want it to be. So I think I'm actually going to make a police station. So right below the halfway point here, I'm going to go ahead and put a sign. I'm going to write the word police so people know that that's my police station. I want a door that I can come in, and I'm going to make mine a double door so I can either open the right side or the left side. And I think my police station will have some small windows. I don't think a police station needs to have large windows, so I think I'll draw a couple small windows for my police station. Above the police station is an apartment building. Hey, wouldn't that be a super safe place to live? And I think I want my apartment to have 3 windows going across right here. And then at the top, I think I would like a triangle-shaped rooftop. And maybe, I don't think I want a chimney because I don't think that an apartment like this would have a fireplace that would need a chimney, but I think I do need some vents. So these little vents come from like either the bathrooms or the heating systems in the buildings, and they would just release some of the steam or some of the steam or build up from the heating system out into the environment. So you can put those on top if you want. Now, if you like that, you can go with it. Or if you're like me and you always like to have a second option, I'm going to go ahead and divide my paper in half, and I'm going to find another solution. So I think I'm going to turn my paper sideways this time, and I'm going to imagine I want a long, thin building this time. So instead of being a tall building, I think I'm going to do a long, thin building this time. This is just another option. You don't have to do this, but I think it's a good idea for me. And this time, I think I want 2 side-by-side shops. So I'm actually going to start by dividing this paper in half. And I'm going to put a building or a shop, a community helper shop on this side and a community helper shop on that side. So again, I think I need doors, and I really like the double door idea. So I'm going to put double doors on each side here. That looks perfect. And then I think I'm going to make on this one, I think I want this one to be some type of like a restaurant of some kind. So maybe I'll title this one Rob's Cafe. There we go. So then maybe coffee and muffins and all the good stuff can be sold over here. And then over here, I want this to be some kind of like a doctor's office, some other kind of community helper. So this person is helping by feeding his community, and then this person is going to be helping by fixing his community if they get sick or hurt. Oh, what about a vet? Oh, that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with a vet. So I'm going to call my vet building here, I'm going to call it Best Vet. So if my dog or cat or a little bunny is sick, I can take it to the best vet shop in the whole town. Okay, so that's going to be my vet store. So then I'm going to put a large window here because a lot of times sick animals like to look outside and see what's happening outside. In Rob's Cafe, I'm going to have a little upstairs where people can go and take their coffee and their muffins. They can have a little upstairs here. And in the upstairs of the vet, I think I'll just have maybe some even smaller windows. Maybe these are the offices where the vet has the animals and he's examining them. Okay, so then I need some roofs, but this time I'm going to make 2 separate roofs. These guys are neighbors, but they each have their own building. So I'm going to go ahead and give each one of them a different roof. So they each have 2 separate roofs here. And again, I don't think I need chimneys, but I might need some of those little vents that take the exhaust out of the building and out into the environment. So I have a couple little exhaust fans here, and I think that looks great. Okay, so now the hard part as an architect. which one do I want to do? I have this one piece of paper that I'm going to be working on, and now I need to decide which one is best for me. All right, I really like this one, so I think I'm going to go with the double option where I have a cafe and I have the vet right next door. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my white piece of paper here, fold it in half since I'm making the two different shops, the two different community helpers. Okay, so I'm making everything on this space except for the roof. I will add the roofs later as an entirely separate piece of paper. So the roofs aren't even part of this. This is all for my community helper shops. All right, so next I'm going to use my ruler. I have a ruler here. My ruler measures inches at the top and millimeters at the bottom. So I'm going to be using the inches portion, which is the larger numbers on my ruler. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bottom edge of my paper here, and I'm going to measure right like that. So this side of my paper where my vet is going to go it looks like 6 inches. So I'm going to put a little mark at halfway. So 6 divided by 2, or you can think about it as doubles. Which number plus which number equals 6? So 3 plus 3 equals 6. So that's why I put a little mark at the 3. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side of my shop, which is my cafe. Let me measure this one. It's 6 as well. Just that side is 6 as well. So again, I bet 3 plus 3 equals 6. That's true. So I'm going to put a little mark at 3. Perfect. Now I'm going to take my ruler and put it this way so that my numbers are counting up like that. And I'm going to let my ruler be right at the edge of my paper, just like that, and also touching my little mark I made. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to make a door, and I want my door to be about 3 or 4 inches tall. So I'm going to hold my ruler. I'm going to start either at 4 or 3, or even in the middle, whatever you decide, between 3 and 4 inches. And I'm going to trace the edge of my ruler and end at that little mark I made. That's why I made that little mark, so I could make sure my door was nice and straight and in the middle of my paper. Now I'm going to do it again on this side, so if you missed it the first time, you can watch again. I'm lining up my ruler with the bottom edge here, making sure it's nice and straight, not all crooked and wonky, but nice and straight, just like that. Making sure that it's touching that little mark I made. And I want this door to be the same as that one. I started at the 4 on that one, so I'll start at 4 here, and perfection. Nice job. So now I have how tall my doors are. Now I'm going to take my ruler sideways, and I'm going to be using the 2 on this one. So I'm going to take my number 2 here, the line right beside the number 2, all the way to the tippy top of my line that I made for the center of my doors. So right there. And I'm going to start at the 1, trace to the 2, and then go to the 3 and stop. What letter did I just make? I hope you said a T. I did. I just made a letter T. Now, what's important here is that it's even on both sides. So make sure that your line on one side isn't super long and the other side is short. Make sure that the 3 was right at the tippy top like that, and you went from the 2 to the 4. Oops, I'm sorry. I think I said 2 last time. Either way, make sure that it's only 1 inch on each side. Okay, now let's go to this side. I'm going to put the 3 at the top, just like that. Make sure my ruler's nice and straight, not all wonky. Make sure it's nice and straight, just like that. Hold the ruler still. Then since I'm at the 3, I'm going to go from the 2 to the 3, and then skip over and go to the 4. Perfect. So I should have 1 inch on each side of my line. 1 inch to the right and 1 inch to the left. Perfect. All right. So artists, next we're going to take some scissors. So I'll give you a second to go get your scissors. And I'm going to cut on the lines I just made. So I'm cutting up this line, turning my scissors and cutting across this line. And then across on this line. Super. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Up on this line. Across on this one. And across on this one. Okay, now the best part, I'm gonna get the doors to open and close. So to do that, I'm gonna open this little side here and I'm going to be creating a fold that goes right there. So I'm opening the door, again, making sure that it's straight, it's not all wonky, and pressing that down. Oh my gosh, I now have a little door that can open and close. I love it. Okay, now the other side. Again, making sure that it's nice and straight when you fold it open, not all wonky. And now I have doors that can open and close, open and close. And if you don't like how they're sticking up, you can fold them back a little bit like that, and they will go a little flatter. There, awesome. Now the other side. Okay, here we go, folding it. And I can open and close them and fold them back a little if I want them to be a little flatter. Super duper. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited. Okay, next step, I'm going to take my roller now and I'm going to trace the line down the center. I should have done this before, but I kind of forgot. So I'm going to trace that line down the center. That's the fold I made earlier, and I just wanted to use my roller so that it was super straight. Okay, so now I'm going to be referring back to my blueprints to add in the extra details like windows and little windows, signs, and anything else except nothing on the roofs. Remember, the roofs are going to get added later. Right now, we're just worrying about what's on the buildings, like on the front of the building. Okay, so I'm going to work on my vet first. I would like a sign right here that says Best Vet. So I'm going to use my roller and I'm going to draw the bottom edge of the sign first. Make sure your roller is super duper straight. I want my sign to start right about here and end right about here. I did not want it to go all the way to the edges. I want it to be right in the middle. Then I'm going to move my roller up here for however tall you want your sign to be. I think I want mine to be like right about there. Hold your roller. Whoops, it was a little crooked. Let me straighten that up. There we go. Hold your roller and again, try and stop in the same distance as the first one. And then guess what? Just turn your roller up and down and connect. Make sure your roller's straight. Connect the ends and connect the other ends. Oh, this line was a little short. Let me just fix that. There we go. So now I can write Best Vet right in that space. Perfect. Okay, now I need a sign for my cafe. I don't want it to be exactly the same. I want it to be a slightly different. So I think I'm gonna make it a different shape. So I'm going to start with a flat bottom edge, just like I did before. So a flat bottom edge, but instead of a flat straight top, I think I'm gonna make it rounded. So I'm going to go like this, curving it up on both sides. You can get as creative as you want with your signs as well. I missed a little, so I of course fixed that up. Super, love it. Okay, now I need to add some windows. I'm gonna use my ruler because I want everything to be super straight, and I'm actually gonna do a little trick here this time. I'm going to draw all three of the tops of the windows at the same time. I just skipped a little space in between. I love when I can do stuff like that, so it kind of saves myself time. Now I'm gonna come down and draw the bottom edge of the window, try and put it right below, and make sure your ruler's nice and straight. And now all I have to do is connect the sides. So I put my ruler the other way and connect the sides. Yay! Love it! Rob's Cafe is coming together. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I actually think there should be some windows down here. I did not put those on my blueprint, so I'm gonna go ahead and add them in really fast. But I really think that there should be some like long, thin windows so people that are walking by can look inside and see the delicious food and drinks that this place serves. And you know what? My roller is actually the perfect size for making a window. I'm just tracing all the edges of my roller. All I need to draw now is the bottom edge. So if your roller will help you do that, that's really cool too. My roller fits in here perfectly, just like this. Oh, my roller moved. You know why my roller moved? I do, and I'll tell you why. My roller moved because I wasn't holding it correctly. I always try to hold my ruler in the middle of where I'm tracing, and I was moving it so that my hand wasn't in the way, and that's exactly why it moved. Always keep your hand right where you're drawing, or else you'll have a situation like me and you'll have to erase. Okay, Rob's Cafe has all the windows it needs. Now I'm gonna go to my best vet, and my vet is only getting some thin windows up high. So I'm gonna do 2 thin windows, and these are gonna be up high. They're not gonna be as long as Rob's Cafe. And yours is totally up to you. Every one of these decisions that I made, you can make the same decision or you can make yours different. That's why we're being architects today. We have the opportunity to design our own buildings. Excellent. Okay. Oh, one more thing. I had a window here. I looked back at my blueprints and I noticed I had a window here. So let me put a window on my vet's shop. Maybe this is where the well animals sit and wait for their owners to pick them back up. Maybe they had to spend the night at the vet and get healthy, and they can sit in there and wait for their owners to come back. Okay, nice work. Okay, so now some more details. So in Rob's Cafe, I think I want some like little curtains that hang down in the front. This is not really architecture work. This is more like decorating, like interior decorating, but it's kind of a nice way to finish this up and make it look a little bit more like the buildings are lived in and are actually being used. So I'm adding some details here, maybe a little mug sitting on a table up here. Maybe there's a chair right beside the window. Maybe in this window, there is a sign hanging down that says open. Rob's Cafe is open. I like it a little crooked. And then maybe there's another table in this window. And this one has a muffin, which looks kind of like a cupcake, but that's okay. And then maybe somebody's drinking a taller drink that has a straw in it. And maybe their chair is right here. They're just not right there right yet. Okay, and then down here in this window, maybe I can see inside and I can see the cabinet where there's a bunch of baked goods for sale. Here's some more muffins. I'm making them a little larger because these ones are down closer to me. I would be able to see them more clearly. This is the muffin shelf. Maybe down here is the donut shelf. Oh my goodness. Okay, and up here on the counter, maybe there's just a couple of, I don't know, maybe there's a cash register or maybe some bags or something. I'll make a little cash register sitting here. There we go. Okay, and then on this one, maybe there's one more little table where people can sit, but there isn't anybody having any treats right now. We've got an open table, but you could come and sit in here if you wanted. Okay, and now over to my vet. So in my vet, I think up here, maybe in this window, I will put a straight sign that says open, a little more professional for my vet. I'm gonna add a couple of door handles. I forgot to add that too. Put some door handles over here. And in this window, maybe there's a little cutie kind of just lounging on the window here, waiting for his owners or her owners to come back. Do a little dog with little floppy ears and a fluffy tail, just kind of laying down, waiting for his owners to come back, hanging out. Maybe he needs a collar on, I bet. There he is. Nice. Okay. And then in the top here, I don't know that I want to put anything. Maybe I'll just put blinds. I don't think a vet would have too many like decorations. So I think I'm just going to put some blinds that are pulled halfway down. That would be maybe okay for a vet. Okay, and now I get to color. All right, so I'm going to start by using my Sharpie. I love using Sharpie for outlining things like this. So you can too, or you can just start coloring whichever you prefer. I'm going to go ahead and do some outlining and then I'll jump into some coloring. I'm going to be using colored pencils. You can use crayons, markers, whatever you have available. Even if this is painting paper for you, you can even use paint if you have it at home. But at school here, we're going to be using colored pencils. And when I do my coloring, I'm going to use different colors on each one that will signify that they are different businesses. I'm even going to color the outside edge a little bit differently. One thing I did want to talk about are windows. So windows are reflective, kind of like how a mirror is reflective, or the surface of a lake on a day where it's not too windy. If you look in a window, if you look in a mirror, if you look in a lake that's not too windy and not too choppy in the water, you might notice that they are reflective. So on beautiful blue sky days, the windows might have a bluish look to them. That's why I'm putting blue on my windows right now. I kind of colored all over everything here. Even my puppy has a little bit of blue on them. These chairs, these curtains, I can still make them whatever color I want. I still want these to be red curtains, but by putting a little bit of that blue on there shows that I understand that windows are reflective and they are reflecting whatever's standing in front of them. So that's why I put a little blue on them. If you want, you could also do something different. You could pretend it's nighttime and you could color in your windows black or yellow, depending on if lights are on or lights are off. But since my shops are open in the daytime, I have my lights on, but it's still daytime, so the windows would be reflective. So that's why I put a little bit of that light blue over all of my windows. I love using colored pencils, more than one color in some areas to blend and make things look better. I'm adding a bit of pink to my Rob's Cafe sign. I'm even going to add a bit of yellow to brighten it up. It makes it look like it's glowing and turned on. That's looking pretty awesome. I also, when I'm coloring a large space, I will use the side of my lead as opposed to the very point like I'm going to write something. So that's helpful too. Use the side of your lead whenever you're coloring a large area like I'm about to color. One of my tricks I really love, pressing a little harder on the edges. I like that a lot of times to help solidify the shape. It really draws attention to it and helps people understand that this is a solid shape on its own. It's similar to outlining with the black Sharpie, except I just didn't want to outline my doors. But I totally could have if I wanted to. All right, I think my cafe is done. Let's move over to the vet. Okay, so my original goal was to make the vet very different from the cafe. So let's make it a totally different color and lots of differences between the two. All right, so now I'm gonna work on the roofs. I have a half sheet of brown construction paper here, and this way it fits perfectly right at the top of my building. So I'm gonna put it this way, but that roof is way too tall. So before I use that as a roof, I'm gonna go ahead and fold it in half the long ways and cut it in half here so that my roof isn't nearly as tall, and I can use this half for the other side. Okay, so that looks so much better. Okay, so now I'm just gonna place this here. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue along this bottom edge with my glue stick, and then I'm going to tuck it behind my building. So I am going up right across the bottom edge here with my glue, and I'm going to tuck this right behind my building, just like that. Okay, then using my pencil, or whatever, you can use your marker or your color pencils, whichever, I'm going to go ahead and draw the shape of my roof. I need to make sure I start in the corner and end in the other corner. That's really the only rule here. So I'm going to go ahead and make a triangle shape that goes from corner to corner. Super. And then if I want any of those little smokestacks, I need to go ahead and add those now, or exhaust fan pipes. There we go. Okay, so now a little bit tricky. I'm gonna cut while it's while it's glued to my houses, my buildings here. So a little bit tricky, takes a little finagling, but I would never ask you to do something I didn't think you can do. I totally think you can do this. All right, that looks really good. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do the other side. Same idea, figure out which way it fits. Obviously it does not fit that way, it's too thin. I have to put it sideways. Then my glue. Oh my gosh, those look so good. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. All right, and then I like to add a little bit of texture to my roofs with probably the same color, just pressing a little bit harder, and I'm just making the shingles, which are the protective layer that we all have on the tops of our houses. Businesses don't always have this. They don't even always have triangle shaped roofs, but since I made a triangle shaped roof, I thought shingles would be nice, and I'll put the same color on both of them. Okay, there we have it. I have my finished buildings. I feel like such a successful architect. These look so good, all the way from the roofs down to the doors that actually open. Could you imagine if you made many of these, all different shops or buildings or community places, and had them all beside each other all the way across your room on the wall? It would look like a hoppin' little city. Well, I hope you had a great time making art with me today. I hope that your community helper buildings are fantastic, and I can't wait to see you back here next time at the Heart of a Viking. HOB artists, don't forget to hop on over to Artsonia to upload a photograph of your piece of artwork to your art portfolio. I can't wait to see it.